Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a teardown slash repair of this Neato Robotics model XV-11 floor cleaner. It's basically a robotic vacuum, kind of like the Roombas and other ones you see around. I actually found this the other day when I went to a thrift store to drop off some donations and stuff. Decided to go inside and take a look. As walking around, I noticed this weird looking thing. I picked it up to realize that it's a robotic vacuum. And as you can see, I got it for only like $5.95, like just less than $6. And coming to find out that these actually run around like $300 to $400 range. So for $6, I was like, no brainer. There's a couple of problems with this one. One of the wheels down here on the bottom isn't, the spring broke or something. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get that going. It's supposed to be spring loaded like this one here, so that when it's sitting on the floor, it's actually putting pressure against it and it's able to propel itself. The problem with this one is because it can't put any pressure on this wheel against the floor, it slips. So as it's trying to move along, it's constantly like sitting there stuttering and it's having a hard time. So I'm gonna see if I can get that working. And another issue is that on this particular type of vacuum, up here where this little slit is, there's actually a laser that rotates. So basically what this vacuum does is as it's moving around, it's mapping the room using this laser and like a line scanner, and that's how it figures out where to go, and it's able to like vacuum in like straight lines, like back and forth, like overlapping lines, so that it doesn't miss any areas. Well, when I found the vacuum, luckily it also came with the charger. It was sitting there right next to it, and then as you can see there's a 2 here, meaning that there was 2 parts to this when they're selling it in the store. So I take this apart, see what's all inside of it, see if we can get it working, get it all cleaned and everything, and hopefully I can get it running, because having this thing would actually be really helpful to me, because I have parrots and they drop a lot of seeds and little crumbs and everything on the ground, and it's just a pain because you have to constantly be sweeping up after them. So if I can get this thing going and have it going at least like once a day, then less time I have to spend cleaning in there around the house. So that'll be awesome. Okay, so first thing we'll take a look at here is the power supply unit, well, the charger base. It's actually kind of interesting how they did this, because you open this up and inside there's actually this little power brick, and see, this is rated at 24 volts at 2.5 amps. I don't know if you can read that on there. It's actually almost looks like a little standard laptop power supply, like for small HP or something. So this is all bundled up in there. Take this out and there's really not much else other than the little jack where it plugs into. Interesting enough, it's got this black bar up here, but I think there's actually something behind it, because as the vacuum's going around, once it's done cleaning, it's actually able to locate its base, and I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with that. It's got these little, looks like little clips here. I'm wondering if I can remove these. Oh, yep, there they go. They're popping out. Let's see what's underneath. There we go. So it looks like it's some reflective stuff. I'm wondering if the fact that it's got like this pattern when the laser scans past it, if that's how it's able to figure out that this is the base. I'm guessing it kind of works like a barcode. And it's got like these little honeycomb shapes, and it's just white material in between them. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's just reflective. So that's that. These contacts are spring loaded, so that when the vacuum comes up against it, it just puts some pressure on that and it keeps it in contact. As you can see behind the vacuum, these 2 lines right here are what make contact with those. On the underside of the base, there's these rubber pads here, so that as it's sitting down on the floor somewhere, it's able to grip. Well, it doesn't really work well on the surface because it's kind of slippery already, but as it's sitting there, the vacuum comes up against it, it can't move it around too much. So a couple of interesting points about the vacuum here is it actually, you don't have to use the base to charge it, but I mean it's a little more convenient to just have it sitting somewhere. It actually also has a barrel connector here so that you can just plug it straight in there.
then you got to set the vacuum somewhere, you know, and then it just goes around, and I guess it returns to where you set it. But with the base, it always returns to the base. This little tab right here, you can actually remove, and inside of that is a USB port. It's a little mini USB port, and this particular vacuum is actually upgradable. You can update the software, and I believe that this one's actually on a bit of an older firmware. So, and there was an update when I looked on their website. So we're kind of, once I get this all working and everything, we'll see about updating it as well. The vacuum itself is actually appears to be fully functional. It'll power on. You can see that there. It's just putting me down on the floor. It's got some switches on the wheels here, so if it's up off the floor, it turns that on. Or I don't know, maybe not just that. Maybe it's, let's see. Oh, okay, I see what it does. There's actually, I noticed on the bottom here, if you can see it in there, there's a couple of infrared sensors. I'm guessing that one looks purple because this probably has a infrared LED lit in there. It has one on the other side as well, although I don't know, you can't tell if that one's on or not, but it's got another one on this side too. Nope, it turned off, I guess. Huh. Let's see. Push that down, does it make a difference? No. So this vacuum also has these bumper sensors, so if it bumps into something, you know, it's able to back up and reroute its way. Let's go through the menu here a little bit so you can see what it has. Let's put OK there. Hit menu. So that's where you schedule things if you want to. Oh, you got to set the clock. Okay. You set the clock, and then you can schedule it so that it, you know, runs certain times of the day or whatever. My bumper is stuck. Please free it. Oh, whoops. It tells you gives you a lot of information about what's going on. Show revisions. So says, I'm guessing, I don't know if that's the one they're referring to, because I think I saw on the website it said it was like up to 3 point something, or I don't know if it refers to this one here. It says V2.4, so I guess once I update it, we'll see what changes there. And port revision 113, that seems like a really high number, unless, I don't know, I don't know how they number those, but that seems like pretty high if it's 113 revisions. Warranty info, I'm guessing that just maybe like serial number or something, not sure what that is. You can shut it down, set LEDs off. It refers to this little ring right here. When you turn that off, when it's charging, it's not, you don't see these LEDs, it's just off. Because normally when these are on, when it's charging, this will be like an amber color, and when it's reaching a full charge, it starts turning green. New battery, I'm guessing that you do that when you get a new battery, so that it, I guess, resets whatever battery information it has stored. Turned off. Yes, you know the battery's low. I guess the battery's too low now to do anything. So I hooked up the base here, I plugged it in, and as you can see, this LED is glowing kind of orange amber, and it's actually the screen is on, as you can tell from there. This is actually kind of funny. If I like back up the base a little bit so that it's not making contact in here anymore, you'll actually see it back into those contacts. Or it did. There you go. So you pull it back a little bit. It's like, no, want to make contact with the base. So taking more of a look at this unit, in here is actually where the little dustbin is, and it's actually quite dirty. And it kind of, I don't know, it smells like maybe the previous owners had dogs or something, because it kind of smells like dog. These are the filters. This is a little filter unit, and this one's actually pretty filthy. But I actually found on eBay I could buy a 10 pack of filters, actually 10, I mean 8, and I got these for just under 10 bucks, so I thought that was pretty good. That'll probably last a while, because all it's going to be picking up in my house is seeds, and you know, there's going to be some dust, but it's not going to be like a lot of animal hair or anything, so it shouldn't probably get this filth. I'm actually going to throw this away now. And here's the little duct where it sucks in all the air. There's a little soft little button here that basically is what indicates that it's got the dustbin in place or not, if it's not all the way in. If you can, I don't know if you can see it in there, but that kind of cylindrical looking object there, that's actually the vacuum motor. So we're going to be taking a look at that. In there, underneath, you can see where that little spinning, rotating laser unit is. I'm actually going to use a screwdriver so you can see it kind of rotates. Let's see if you can see the laser in there. There it comes. There's one hole. It actually has two holes. One of them's a laser, and then the other one's where it receives the light back. This kind of has, it seems to have an issue rotating, so we're going to see what that's all about. You can get that working too. But yeah, when it's functioning, this part is rotating. Taking a better look on the underside here, these two little compartments here are where the batteries are stored. This unit actually has two batteries. This is the little roller that spins to pick up debris and, you know, seeds and whatnot. It has two little clips here that you just lift. This whole piece comes out. I'm going to be cleaning that too. I'm just going to be giving this whole thing a really good cleaning after I take it apart. And the good thing about the parts on this is that a lot of the stuff is replaceable. Like this roller is replaceable. This one doesn't appear to be in too bad of a shape except for like this little tear here. But if I ever need to, I can replace this. And the good thing is that this particular model is apparently still being made, so it's easy to get parts for them. These wheels as well are also replaceable. These actually remind me of those wheels from the Kinect sets. They look pretty similar to them, and they're almost about the right size. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're not, but they look close enough. This actually you can just remove by lifting up. It's got this little belt here with some, so you can see it, a belt here with some teeth on it, and that's what actually rotates this part. It's got these little sleeve bearings on the sides, so those just kind of fit in there and allows that to rotate. And set those aside. And let's see what else we got here. Let's go ahead and open up these battery compartments. So there we go. We got this little 4-pin connector in there, and it's keyed so that it can only go in one way. I'm guessing that there's probably a thermistor or something in there, judging by these two extra wires here, unless they actually got something funky going on and there's more than... No, it does look like there's a... Yeah, it looks like there's a thermistor in there. You can see two little wires there. I don't know if you can see them on the camera here. But yeah, there's two little wires going there, and they look like they're coming from the yellow, so that's probably to sense the temperature and when it's charging and see if they're overheating or not. These batteries don't hold much of a charge anymore, so I'm probably going to have to replace these as well. But for now, they run long enough for me to test this thing. And the other one on this side appears to be exactly the same. Yeah, they're identical. So it doesn't. So there's like no right and left one. They're both the same. Inside of the battery compartments here, they got these aluminum plates. I'm guessing it's to dissipate some of the heat away from the batteries, because I'm pretty sure that this draws a lot of power when it's running, especially the fan, because it needs to be able to suck, all the debris and stuff in through there. So it's got quite a high amperage fan. Nothing much interesting in there. And the wheels here they have a screw on the side, and you can actually loosen this up. So you loosen those up. There's a little metal pin on this side. You pull out and it releases the wheel. And as you can see, it's kind of got these notches on the side so that it fits in there. It's like that. And it's able to rotate these wheels and they don't slip. And it's also got a bit of these big notches on the side here too to grip the gear in there, the one that rotates the wheels. I'm guessing once we open this up, there's probably going to be some rotary encoders on there so that it can sense the position of the wheels and how much it's moved. So we'll put this back on for now. Actually, no, I don't need to put this back on. We'll just leave it off. So we're going to give these wheels a good cleaning too. They're pretty dusty and a little grimy, so the cleaner I can get everything, the better. If we have a look inside there, you can see a spring right in there. And on this one here, I don't see the spring on this side. It's kind of dark. I don't know if you're going to be able to see in there. But yeah, the spring's not there. So I don't know if the spring's stuck inside somehow or somewhere, or if it's completely missing or what. I don't really hear anything rattling in there, so I'm hoping it's stuck inside. I don't know, we'll find out. So let's take this bumper off. I don't know exactly what order this whole thing's supposed to come apart in, but we'll just go at it. I'm gonna take it all apart anyway since I'm gonna clean it. So I guess it's not a big deal. There's that. Let's see. It's got some sort of a sensor on here. I thought it was just another like little vacuum port to clean corners or something, but it's not. So that must be to detect walls, like when it's right up against the wall, so it doesn't, rub against it. I'm guessing that's what that's for. Alright, let's see. This still doesn't come off. So I'm guessing we're going to have to remove the rest of these screws all around. There's that cover. And use these little the little rollers here for when it's moving around. They have this little foam gasket around to seal the vacuum area here so that it only pulls in air from one side and it's not leaking in through these edges. They actually have like a little bit of a raised kind of a little lip right here. Alright, so it makes a really good seal. And holy monkey, 12 volts, 3.84 amps. I wasn't expecting it to be that much. You can see the motors in here, and sure enough, there's like, if you can see in there, it's kind of hard to see. There we go. There's a little wheel there, so I'm guessing it's not optical. Actually, I think this might be a little reed switch right here on the edge. As you can see, that little thing right there. Can't tell quite yet, but I don't think that's a fuse. On the other side here, there's a bunch of hair. Ugh, nasty. So, yeah, get rid of that. No whole lot else to see down here. Oh, this is coming off. And that's got a little connector in there. Let's see if we can pop that off. Might need to use a little needle nose. And let's get this off here. There it goes. So these are the contacts for the back. It has a resistor on here, probably to provide some sort of a load for the power supply. I wonder why they did that though, versus like say putting it on the board or something. Got some more junk in there. So, let's see what else we got here. Looks like we can unplug these motor connectors from in there. There's one. Let's get the other side off here. So yeah, judging by the fact that there's 5 pins here per connector on each motor, there's definitely an encoder on these. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Let's see if this just looks like it's just clipped. That little rod is clipped in there. So we gotta move. Let's see if we can get this out here. Should just pop out. There it goes. So that pops out. Yeah, this work. Yep, there we go. Little rod came out. There's the motor. There's the spring. So that little piece right there is probably what's broken on the other side, and that's what pulls the wheel up. So I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Yep, that's a magnet. I can feel the pull on that. So this is a little magnet wheel, and that's going to be a little reed switch. Oh, nope, I guess I'm wrong. Nope. It's got a hall sensor in there. You can see that little TO3, that little SOT23 device right there. That's it. So this is a fuse. 250 volt at 1 amp. Don't know if you're going to be able to read that there. 251 amp. So that's a fuse for the motor. I can see the trace right there. It's going directly to this contact. And then the other. So this black one here goes to the motor. The other one goes through the fuse and to the motor. And then these 3 pins right here for that hall sensor. There's a spring on this side. It's actually a pretty big spring. Let's go ahead and remove this other side. There we go. This is being a little bit of a pain. There we go. Let's pull this out. Get that one out. Oh, sure enough, there it is. That's where it's broken. So I don't know if I'm going to have to replace the whole thing or if I'm going to be able to actually fix it, especially if the spring's missing. Yeah, it looks like the spring's completely missing on this, because I can see where it actually broke off of in there. I don't know if you can be able to see it here. We'll be able to see it once I open it up. But yeah, it's missing. So I'm going to figure out if I'm going to be able to get something similar to replace it with. And more garbage. Ah. Oh, this is a little gate that was here for where the filter goes, so that just slides out. There's it there, see that right there? This just comes out. Probably just to prevent big objects and stuff from getting stuck in there. Actually, if you take a look in here, you can see the little switches there that get pushed when the wheels are pushed in. The little micro switches. Looks like got a couple more screws up here. Let's see if there's any screws in there. Doesn't look like it. Why doesn't this come apart? I don't think there's any screws underneath these aluminum plates, but I guess we can take them out and look. Just come out like that. So that's them right there. Nope, no screws in there. At this other side. So you might as well just take them out while I'm at it. Whoops. Look, in there is a whole little bundle of twisted wires going here. I wonder what those are going to. Probably to all the sensors and stuff up in the front. Oh, there we go. There's another screw in here. So this one's here's got 4 wires going to it. I'm guessing this is going to be a lot like a regular PC fan, where it's got the positive, the negative, the tack, and then one of the for PWM control. It's actually our fan's actually pretty smooth. Yep. It's got a rubber gasket right here for the output, so it doesn't blow all that crap. I mean, whatever little bit of dust actually manages to get in through there doesn't blow on the inside of the vacuum. So we'll remove this. There we go. Now I got a little ribbon in there. Gotta be careful with that. Let's flip it over and see if this spring came out. So that was a good spring. Let's see. Yeah, got stuff falling out. Alright. Okay, so these came off of here. These are for the bumper switches. Here's another one right there. Look at all those wires. Let's rotate this a little bit. And disconnect this little 3-pin connector there. Let's undo this ribbon. There we go. So on the top here, let's move this aside. That's the LCD unit and the control buttons here. So that's all on that board. They have a little ribbon here. That's probably just going directly to the LCD. We'll take that off and take a little bit better look at it. Over here on the other side, here's that other optical sensor. Oh, that's why I couldn't take this off. It's got these little springs right here. So once I take those off, that should all come out. But yeah, that's got another screw on the bottom there, so I'm gonna have to take that out. Kind of a little grubby in there. Gonna have to clean that too. Here's that top piece, the one with the openings for the laser unit. That comes off too. It's got a few screws, so we'll take that off and clean it. Now, the main unit here, it's got these big tack switches right here with these little springs on them, so that it gives us the ability to, you know, kind of go far into it, so they don't get damaged too easily. And then it's got these little paddles here that push up against those. It's got 4. I don't know where the other 2 went yet. They just kind of fell out. So you're gonna have to figure. Oh. They go on the sides right here. Okay, so it's got from the front, and it's also able to detect when it hits something on the sides. So that's interesting. I thought it only had like 1 per side, so that but no, it's able, so it knows if it hits something in this direction or in this direction. And here's that little soft button here for the dustbin, so it knows that if it's installed or not. Here is the motor that runs that little roller on the bottom. Actually a pretty hefty looking motor. Changfeng motor, never heard of that. 12 volts DC, doesn't specify amperage or anything. I mean, it doesn't, I don't think, actually, holy crap, this one actually has a 250 volt 2 amp fuse on there, and this one also has an encoder. I wonder why you'd need an encoder for the roller though. Oh, whatever. So here's the laser unit. It's actually belt driven. Belt feels kind of loose, so maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know yet. I'm gonna see if that's replaceable. But if you look in there, see if you know if you can see it here. It's gonna be kind of hard to see. The laser's on this side. Let's see if we can get a good view here. I can't tell in there. Let's see if I can zoom in. There it is. You can see the laser in there. You can kind of see it. Then the other side here has a lens for that line scanner. So we'll open this up and take a better look inside. Yeah. What I found here. It's a little fiber of carpet. And yep, the spring is nowhere to be found, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get that working. Here's where it actually broke off. It's supposed to have a plastic pin like on this side here, and that's where the spring kind of loops into like that, and it keeps the wheel taut. But on this side that broke off, and it broke off from the roller motor, or from the wheel motor too, so I have to figure out something with that. So here's that laser unit. Not really a whole lot of wires going to it. Just got the 2 for the motor here, and then 4 for the actual unit itself. So I'm pretty sure 2 are going to be for power, and then I'm guessing maybe one might be to pulse the laser, and then another one that actually gets the data back. So take a look inside here. See what's all in here. It's got 4 screws, so let's take those off. So there's that. There we go. You got a better look at it now. There's just like some little light pipes, right, to prevent stray light from going in there. Well, not light pipes, but little tubes. So there we go. That almost looks like it's a little camera, as you can see. And then that's the laser right there. Got the 3 wires going to it. So that's just going to be the laser diode in here. Then the driver's thread are probably going to be mounted on this little board it's connected to. And I'm guessing that this here is probably notched so it can be focused, but I'm not going to touch that because I'm pretty sure it's already adjusted and everything. Oh, and actually, look, you can see right here what each of these 4 pins does. You got a 5-volt ground. It says RX and TX, so one's a receiver, one's a transmitter. So I'm wondering, I don't know if this would actually be using like RS-232, but it might be maybe something similar. And there's gonna be probably some slip rings on there or something to keep this thing to be being able to rotate while still making contact with that side. So we'll take that off. This is the belt here. Just comes off. That almost looks like an O-ring some sort, and I guess I wouldn't be surprised if it actually originally was, and then they just kind of used it for this. There's a motor there. Oh, a little tiny motor. Not much going on there. So looks like we got to take these off here. So I don't know how this comes off. Oh, I see. Okay, looks like this whole top unit should just slide off somehow. But not going. I don't want to break it either. Wonder if I have to remove this. I'm kind of hesitant to do that just because I don't want to throw it out of alignment or anything. I don't know. We'll come back to that to see if I can figure something out. I don't really like how they've done this here. They've soldered the ribbon cable directly to the board, but there's nothing to prevent this from cracking with too much movement, because that's actually no, it looks like they had tape on the other side. It just come undone for some reason, but there we go. Okay, so yeah, it does have something on there. I thought it was just actually it was just being held on by the solder itself, but it's not. This board comes out. There's the LCD. I don't know the actual resolution of this LCD. It's got the little chip on glass there. And down here underneath, it's got the light pipe. Looks like it's, yep, it's got some LEDs right there to light it up. These are the LEDs that light up that little ring around the power button, which would be that one. These are actually all little, just soft tech switches. Got a little bit of a cleaning there. So that's that. And then there's a little light pipe for that button there. Got the big button here, a bunch of little buttons, not much doing there. They used some hot glue on these here. So I'm gonna have to peel those off, and then I'm gonna have to put some glue on them back when I reattach it. There we go. Both of those out. Here it comes. Alright, what else is holding it on? Guess it might have something to do with these. Yeah, there we go. So now this comes out. Yeah, that's kind of filthy too. These appear to be little Teflon pads to kind of keep this from binding, I guess, so that it can constantly, you know, slide around in there. That's gonna need a good cleaning. It's got these little spring steel bits here on the side, right, so that when it makes contact, it's able to bounce back. So this is the bumper. Oh, I didn't realize these buttons came out of that top panel when I flipped it over, but it's just the arrows and a return button. So, and they're keyed, so they can only go in one spot. So that'll be easy to put back in. Another little plastic piece here. So that's the bumper. I don't know how I'm gonna get that sensor out of there. As you can see, it's got a screw in there. But does this slide out? I don't know. Kind of odd. Now they got that screw in there. Looks like Maybe got to remove this first here. So that comes out. Yep, sure enough. Little infrared transmitter and receiver. And quite a bit of stuff going on in there. Has like, I don't know, let's see what's in there. Actually, it looks like there's some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some with a bunch of pins going in there, so let's see what's in there. Oh. It's actually a whole little chip. Well, it's a whole assembly. But yeah, there's quite a bit going on in there. Probably a good idea to take it apart because there's quite a bit of dust buildup in there. So I'll clean that out as well. So that's inside of the assembly there. I'm guessing that's going to be the detector, and then that's the probably infrared emitter. I'll give that a cleaning. I'm just going to put it back together for now. So on this side here, this little plastic piece actually sits inside there. It sits inside here, probably to prevent too much dust from accumulating on the sensor there. That just falls right out. I can't figure out how to take this off because of the way that screw is mounted in there. It's really odd. So I'm just gonna leave that in there. It's plastic anyways, and when I clean it, it's no big deal. So here's the main board. Actually, they got a big Atmel device on there. It's an AT91SA M9XE128. I guess it's got ARM CPU core in there or something. Holy crap, look at this huge resettable fuse right there. I'm guessing, I don't know if that goes to the fan. I'm guessing that goes to the fan somehow, because I believe the fan connector was down, oh, it's down here, but I don't know, I guess we'll trace that. It's got this big resistor right here, this little chip resistor. I'm guessing that's probably to sense the current that the fan is pulling, probably to prevent something from frying on board. It probably limits the current when it's starting up. Okay, so I removed the board, and it's actually a pretty clean looking board with the exception of this little bodge wire going here. I don't know what's going on with that. One interesting thing that I read about this particular vacuum is that on earlier models there's actually a serial port that you can access, and I guess people, they like to get these vacuums and hack them because it's basically, I mean, it's already a little robotic platform, and with the serial port I guess you can get it to do a lot of interesting things. So if anybody can just interface to that and get it to do their, you know, whatever they want, then they just build on top of it. This section here appears to be, I'm pretty sure this is all part of the power supply. There actually appears to be two of them here. Looks like they had provisions here for like a little metal can or some sort of shielding over the top of it. I guess they felt it wasn't necessary, so it's not included. Same as up here. This goes directly to the contacts on the batteries. We'll look at that a little bit more later. So that's where those come in. A big honking diode there, a couple of diodes over here. This big inductor, a couple smaller inductors here. One thing I didn't realize when I pulled off the sensor that goes to the front bumper is that it pulled off the little plastic piece that goes here, and the only reason why I noticed that came off was because when I was starting to pull some of these out, they were starting to lift up as well. So these connectors are kind of crappy, but whatever. On the bottom side we got this flash chip here, and says NAND 128W3A2BN6. Here's that little USB port. Got a couple more connectors down here. This one's the one for the fan. This one, I forgot what that went to. Oh, I think this one went to the charger. On the little micro switches here, they have these little oval Teflon pads. So I guess it kind of, you know, helps prevent wearing it down too fast on this side or on the plastic on the little wheels. Nothing else much down here other than, you know, it's all grounded. So I thought we'd take a better look at the circuit board here. I put on a macro lens. Got a bunch of, it's pretty much all surface mount stuff. Here we got some chip labeled 3950T. Seeing as how this is kind of close to where the battery is, I don't know, maybe that's a, I don't know, I'm going to guess that maybe that's a charge controller. I'm not 100% sure. Although, no, never mind, because it goes here. And that's actually one of the motors. So, no, I guess that's going to be, oh, yeah, that's going to be for the, it's going to be a motor controller, because here's another identical one. And that also goes to the motor on the other side. So, yeah, that's just a motor controller then. We got some few power devices up here. This one's labeled PH7TT. I didn't find anything on that, and I did a search. This one here is an international rectifier device. Oh, some inductors. These big diodes. Here's a pretty big resistor. I guess that's 0.2 ohms. There's that big settable fuse there. This here looks like it's a RAM chip for the CPU. Here's a crystal here that's running at, I think it says, yeah, come on. It says N18.432. So 18.432 megahertz apparently. Some HC4051s here. Another little chip here. Looks like it might be some sort of a power device. That little thing right there. Other stuff. Some maybe. I don't know. That's another little voltage regulator chip right there. Apparently, seeing how it's on this section of the board. Let's see what else we got over here. Another 0.2 ohm resistor. It's the other device right here. Not sure what that is. There's a bunch of unpopulated connectors. So I'm guessing one of these is probably that serial port I was talking about, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things that they're not using. There's probably a JTAG in there somewhere. There's another one. Looks like there's supposed to be a little resistor network right there that's not populated. Switch. There's probably a switch right there. It's not populated as well. There's that baud wire. 10 alums. Not a whole lot else going on up here. Other side of the board. There's that flash chip. And yeah, not a whole lot else here. There's that little Teflon pad I was talking about. Not much else. There's a USB connector. I looked up some information on the CPU on this thing, and there's actually quite a bit going on in this. Look at this. It's got DSP instruction extensions, ARM, Giselle, technology for Java acceleration. I actually read that these vacuums are actually like running a bit of Linux in them, so I guess that would make sense. I guess they run at 180 megahertz. They got a bunch of stuff. It says 1891 ARM thumb microcontrollers, so I guess there's 3 different versions of it. The one in this one is the 128. Yeah. Let's see what else. A bunch of timers, counters, blah blah blah. Description, it says the AT91 SAM 9XE 128 256 512 is based on the integration of an ARM 926 EJ-S processor with fast ROM and RAM, 128 256 or 512 kilobytes of flash. So this one has 128 kilobytes of flash then, and a wide range of peripherals. They actually have a system diagram of this chip on here in this sheet.
And look at this, there's the JTAG right there, that's the ARM processor. It's got Ethernet, image sensor interface, there's a USB. It says it's got this 6-layer matrix, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'm guessing that it probably has like some programmable logic inside of it too. There's the 128 kilobytes of flash right there, 33 kilobytes of ROM. It's got some SRAM, peripheral bridge, 24 channel peripheral DMA. Whoops, let's see. Well, says something there for the USB device, a 4-channel 10-bit ADC. So yeah, it's got a whole lot of stuff built in. And I guess seeing how this vacuum has to do a lot of, takes in a lot of information to be able to figure out where it's going and what it's doing, then I guess it makes sense to have a chip with this much capability in it. SD-RAM controller, static memory controller, ECC controller. So yeah, it's got a bunch. So we'll continue with taking the rest of this apart. Here's that little button for the dustbin. Just a little rubberized contact there. It's a little dusty in there. I should probably clean that too. But yeah, there you go. Gold plated contacts. It's just 2 wires going to that. We'll give that a good cleaning. Here's a little boards with the tack switches on them. Not a whole lot there either. Got this little plate holding down the little edge sensors here, and apparently this is pretty identical to the other one. Yep, looks like they're all going to be the same thing. Guess it's easier to just keep everything the same, that way they're easy to, we don't have to make a bunch of little individual different ones or anything. They just use the same thing. So there's one there. Here's the one for the other side. So yeah, what these sensors do is they just basically, if this vacuum's moving and it comes to the edge of something like, say, a staircase, then it stops so it doesn't fall off, roll down it or anything. There's another one. Looks like oh, I see what happened here. They didn't use a connector. They just soldered these wires directly on there. Wondering why they did that when the other side has a connector on it, but this one just has the wires soldered directly on there. That's kind of weird. It's like, what, did they just like run out of one connector or something? Yeah, what the heck? Okay. Here's a little, it says magnetic sensor board on there. I don't know if you can read it. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit on there. So I'm not sure why they would have these on there. I don't know if this is magnetic or not. Oh yeah, that's a magnet. That is magnetized. I'm guessing it's so as if it comes up against something that it, like a chair, so that it's able to detect it before it bumps into it. I'm guessing that's what those are for. Like the legs on a chair. And then there's another one on this side too. So I'm guessing that's what those are for. And you got this big old harness here. This thing looks like it just comes out like that. All this stuff just pops out. It's just seated in there. These out. This out. There. So there's this whole harness assembly right there with the 2 switches. Actually, this one's got the 3 switches, the magnetic sensor, and the optical sensor here. On this side, you just got the optical sensor, magnetic sensor, and then the 2 switches. So here we have the brush motor. Oh, okay, I guess it would make sense for this one to have kind of a higher amperage motor because of the fact that there's a lot of friction on that roller to clean, carpets and
floors and everything like that. There's a motor, you can see a little cog in there. This rotates as you do that, and then there's the encoder right there. So, yeah, it's a pretty beefy motor actually. It's pretty heavy. Got this little ferrite bead there where it cut out some of the EMI. It's like this is a thermistor right here. Probably in case the motor's getting too hot, maybe it shuts it down or it cuts power to it or something so it doesn't overheat and end up frying something else. Oh, pretty good. Don't have much else going on in here except for harnesses going to the batteries. Looks like I'm gonna have to push those in. The little flathead or something. So yeah, there we go. You can just got these little tabs in there. You just gotta push in. And there you go. This comes out. So there's that. And over to this side. Oh, there's something. Oh, okay. There's a speaker. This is where you hear all the little tones come from, the little sounds it makes. There it is. Oh, this gasket's really warped. I don't think it's really supposed to be a gasket. I think it's just a little liner on the speaker itself, but it's like completely peeling off. I guess there's really no point in keeping that on there. Doesn't look like it's doing much anyways. It's on the surface, so it's not holding the cone onto it. Just pull that off. It's kind of useless. So yeah, that just sits in this little plastic holder there, and it holds it up against the little grooves inside there. So that's where it fits. There's the other harness for the battery. For the other battery. There it goes. That comes out. So I really like how they have all these little harnesses that are all like, they're all like one, well, they're not one piece, but the way they're kind of all bundled together so that everything kind of goes to the same place. So this is going to make it really easy to put back together. I don't have to sit there and guess, okay, which one goes where. So that's pretty convenient. So right here, what they did basically is one battery, the terminal 1 battery runs directly to the other side, and then this one here goes to the main board. So this one I'm assuming is going to be the negative. Here, the positive of this battery pack goes to the negative of this battery pack. The positive from this battery pack runs to the main board. And then these are the 4 contacts for the thermistors on each battery pack. So there's really not much else here other than there's this little rubber foam gasket here for where the fan motor is mounted. So I was searching through a little bin of springs that I have here, and I actually found this one that's kind of similar to the original one inside these vacuums. It's actually a little bit, looks like the wire is actually a little bit smaller gauge than the original here, and it actually has about, feels like it's got about the same amount of strength here. So I don't know if I'll be able to, use this one as a replacement for the one that's missing there, or I'll see if I can actually maybe even get the actual exact replacement. I don't know if they sell these or not. I'll look it up. If not, I might have to figure out if I can make do with this one here. Maybe make it work somehow. Alright, so I decided to go ahead and give this line scanner a go here, and I've marked these areas here with some yellow paint pens so that I can hopefully get this thing back together exactly how it went. Hopefully I don't screw it up too bad. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to it, but I still hate to mess it up. So, let's see, we'll move these screws up on the top here. I'm not sure if this is screwed. No, it looks like this thing just... Huh. Oh, there he goes. This just pops out. So, I don't get why... Oh, okay, I see what it is. When those screws were put inside here, they actually push up against these tabs, which hold this bearing in place. So, it looks like actually I didn't even need to remove these up here. I just had to pull on it a little bit harder. It's got a lot of hair underneath here. I'm gonna have to clean all that out too. Yeah, that's definitely a dog or something. Most likely a dog. It has a little photo interrupter right here. Probably to detect. Yeah, look at this. It's got a bunch of little tabs here of different sizes. Actually, they're not all different sizes. It looks like this is the only one here that's a different size so that it knows where it's at in its rotation. Here's that little slip ring this time. Let's see what's underneath here. It's actually a pretty big bearing. Now, here we go. It's all coming off now. I didn't want to have to unsolder those wires. But it looks like I might have to if I want to take this off. Oh, yeah, it looks like I didn't really need to take these screws out of here. It looks like it's all just coming off. Ah, shoot. I just pushed this laser in. Well, luckily, I can see a line there from where it was mounted. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these screws back on here and hold these in place because I don't want these to go out of alignment. So regarding holding this bearing in place, they've actually done the same thing on the other side where these screws put pressure against these clips and hold it in place right there, as you can see. So they got 6 on those too. I'm going to go ahead and desolder these wires here so we can remove this unit and look inside. Or actually, I'll be able to probably remove from here and look inside of that. Okay, so I desoldered those wires there that came up around this hole and onto the board there, and it goes to this. So that means that all those contacts are actually inside of here, and then this can rotate and maintain a proper contact with this on the bottom here. And you can see right here, they actually have a website. It says www. I don't know if we can focus on that. Let's see. Oh, there we go. It says www.slipring.cn. And I guess it's made by a company called Jinpat. I don't really get why they use connectors on some of the devices in here, but not on the others. Like this one here is also soldered onto there, which makes it kind of annoying because now I'm going to have to remove those before I can open this up and take a look inside of that. So there's that removed. There's the line scanner assembly. There's the board. It says LDS horizontal board, 5-volt reg. And I guess this was actually manufactured in 2010. It says 91010 there. So remove the screws for that board and pull this out. Wow, there's really nothing underneath it except for that. And there's that sensor there. There's the screws that hold the bearing in place. This thing here is actually just like a little counterweight just to balance the whole device out so that it doesn't wobble around all crazy. I really thought there was going to be more on here, but I guess apparently not. So yeah, I'm guessing, I wonder if this is some sort of a regulator. Maybe not, because it takes 5 volts in here. It goes into that. I don't know what that's for. So here's the back side of this line scanner. You can see the 3 wires here going to the laser diode. So it's going to be probably either one for a ground or positive, and then it's got the 2, one for the diode itself, and then one for the photodiode. It's built in. It's got these 4 little screws here that we'll just remove. On the other side of this board, there's actually a pretty big looking chip right there. Let's see what that one says on it. These screws are tiny. And apparently put some sort of an adhesive over the top of them. Probably to keep them from rattling around or getting loose or whatever while this thing's rotating. Coming off fairly easily. And there's only 4, so let's see what's underneath here. Come on. There we go. There we go. So that's the back side of that. Let's remove this connector here. Geez, this is actually it's a pretty thick board. Okay, we're not going to remove that. So I'm guessing that's some sort of little infrared filter there, because you can't actually see straight through it. So the light would come into here, well, it gets focused and filtered out, and then it hits the actual detector, which is that right there. So this big chip on here, it says CO2APZHT. I don't know if that's the actual. Looks like this might be a custom chip made for Neato, because right here down on the bottom you can see it actually says Neato. It's made by Texas Instruments. It's got their little logo up there on the top. So that, yeah, that's probably like some sort of a custom chip for this. Let's look at this little. Let's look at that little sensor a little closer. So that's the sensor there. Probably might be hard to tell on this camera here, but it's actually, I mean, it's very similar to like a regular camera sensor, like a CCD or a CMOS sensor or something. Looks like it actually has a bunch of, yeah, you can't really see it here in the video. Oh, I guess you kind of can. But it looks like it actually has several rows and columns of pixels there. I don't know if you can tell there. Got a little cluster of something right there on the side. So yeah, that's what picks up all the information when it's scanning the room around. And this is it's right there, it's bonded on the sides, soldered onto the rest of the board. And there's rotate this around. There's that chip, there's a TI logo. And in the bottom it says Neato, so yeah, this is probably something custom made for them, for this sensor. Yeah. So good thing about this lens here is that it's threaded. So even though I loosened up this screw here, I was actually able to adjust it and get it back to where it was because of that mark I made there. I mean, if I loosen it up too much, then it's like really loose and I'm able to, move it around a lot. But as long as it's, as long as it's like a little tight there, then the thread's actually, it's not tight enough. It doesn't really take very much. Then I'm able to, like, man, making a fool out of me here. There we go. See, so I'm able to adjust it by just like turning it in and out. And actually that's not where it was. It was like right there, because there was like one thread showing right there in the end. So then you tighten this up and it fixes it in place. So hopefully I didn't throw that out of alignment too bad. The laser here is a little bit more different because this one's actually just press fit in there. The only way I was able to get that one back to where it was is because there's actually a line there. I don't know if you can see it, where you can tell like it's a clean part and kind of a dirty part. So I just kind of backed it in there until that little dusty line lined up with the rest of it there. And then I'm gonna tighten up these screws. So I'm just gonna leave this assembly as is. I really don't want to open that part up there. I mean, there's not going to be much in there anyways. It's just the lens there and the filter. So not much going on in there. I'm just going to leave it alone. Down here on the bottom, interesting enough, it looks like it has a little spot for a screw so that you could tighten this up. I know I've seen on some like small security cameras, like this one here, for example, right here, where the lens is, they actually have this little screw so that once you fix the focus, you just tighten that up and it keeps the lens in place. So it looks like something similar going on in there, but it's got the hole, but they didn't go through that trouble of putting a screw in there. They figured that just tightening these up would hold it all in place and be good to go. I mean, it's not like it's not really like taking up a whole video image of the place or anything. It's just scanning to see where the laser is and probably, you know, gauging its distance from objects that way. Alright, so I put this assembly back together. Like I said, hopefully I didn't throw the alignment off too bad on that, and hopefully it'll work as soon as I put it back on the vacuum. So let's go ahead and see what's inside one of these gearboxes. This is actually the one that has the broken mount for the spring there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws holding it together here. Looks like there's just a little cover, so it's just going to be like a few gears there for gear reduction. Going to the much larger gear down here on the bottom that drives the actual wheel itself. There's actually, this whole thing is pretty dusty. Well, I guess not surprising considering it is vacuum and spends its time on the floor. Yeah, come on, there we go. These are actually, okay, so these two screws right here are actually the ones that also hold the motor in place. So you can see these are machined, and these are just for plastic there. So this is one of the motors. Actually kind of small, but I mean, they don't need to be big. All they're doing is moving the vacuum around. There's a lot of dust on it here. And there's also another Changfeng motor, 12 volt DC. And something like that. We'll put that back together later. Just got one more screw here. Off. Oh, came right off. So they got 3 gears. So they got the little pinning gear right there, and then just 3 gears of reduction on there. I don't really need to do much in here, so I'm just gonna close this back up. One thing I didn't mention earlier was that these batteries are 7.2 volts, 3200 milliamps, which, you know, added up would be 14.4 volts, so which would explain why everything in here is rated at 12 volts. That whole big section on the main board with that big inductor is probably to bring everything down to 12 volts. I mean, actually, I guess when I put it all back together and get it working, I'll be able to see what kind of voltage is coming out of this whole section here. And of course, this little section right here is probably going to be the regulators for the CPU and all the, you know, the other little digital logic and everything. So anyways, that's everything that's inside the Neato Robotics XV-11 robotic vacuum cleaner. I was kind of hoping to make this a single video, but it's gonna have to be 2 parts because I gotta clean everything and then I gotta figure out how I'm gonna fix this whole little spring issue here and see if I can even get a replacement spring. So stay tuned for part 2. Should be coming soon, hopefully. And hope you enjoyed the teardown, and thanks for watching.